Welcome. This is going to be another how-to guide or another tutorial by Triple H Farming. So what we're going to do today is go over various ways to fertilize your fields and increase your yield. Just another disclaimer as well, as I put in every video, we're just going to use the basic in-game items that are available in the store. We're not going to use any mods or go over any mods in this guide or this tutorial. Another thing too, a lot of you may ask after this video is why we didn't go over herbicide. We're going to go over that in a completely different video. There's just a couple other elements to that I think are different enough that need to have their own video. But we'll still talk about which of these fertilizer spreaders can hold herbicide as well. So getting right into it, we're going to start off here with solid fertilizer spreaders. So they're actually only 3 in-game. However, as you can see here, I have 5 laid out. And the reason being, the ones on the left and the ones on the right, they're different versions of each other. And we'll go over what those differences are. And I thought it just warranted putting them in there just because of how different they can be configured in the store when you purchase them. So some fertilizer spreaders can spread lime, can spread lime as well, which is important if you go into your game menu and you go into game settings here. If you have lime required here, then lime will be required every 3rd time you use a field. So if that's checked on, then you will have to put lime on your fields in order to not get a deficit from your harvests. Or I guess, sorry, it's not a deficit, but you get an increase in your yield when you actually lime them. So going through the solid fertilizer spreaders, the first one here I have on the back of this tractor is going to be the Kuhn 40.2 MEMCW. It only does fertilizer, does not do lime. It has a 3,200 liter capacity, and it says in the store that the working width is 24 meters. It actually only does about 12, so it doesn't do anywhere near what is advertised in the store. I'm not sure why that is in there, but I tested it to make sure, and that is the case. This guy only cost you 20,000 when you buy it, so it's not terribly expensive. Not a bad starting fertilizer if you're looking at it. The next one we're looking at is going to be the K105. That's also, or this is going to be by Bridal, so it's the Bridal K105 that's hooked up to the back of this tractor here. So this guy comes in 3 different configurations. Well, I guess there's more than that if you really look at it, but there's a few things you can adjust in the store when buying it. This particular version I have in front of me is a 9,000 liter capacity, has the working width of 12 meters, and all these solid fertilizers run at 12 miles per hour when they're running. And this guy here costs 39,000. However, there are 2 more options in store where you can increase the capacity of this. This is the max capacity. This is also the K105. So you can increase it from 9,000 to 11,000 and then again to 14,000. This is the 14,000 version shown here. You also have the option to either leave it as this on the back, which is a standard spreading discs, or you can do these guys that extend out on the back, which give it a little bit wider spread. So this is going to give it an 18 meter spread as compared to a 12 meter spread. So this guy with the max capacity and the 12 meter spread on the back is going to put you back about 47,750 versus this one's only 39,000. And these guys do solid fertilizer as well as lime, so they can do both. And then we move on over here to this guy. This is going to be the biggest solid fertilizer spreader in game. This is the Bridal K165. Again, this one also spreads fertilizer and lime. This guy here on the front has a 15,600 liter capacity, works at 12 meters at 12 miles per hour, and costs 67,000. So this guy here has the option, again, kind of similar to the K105. The K165 has an option for a little bit more to add the 6 meter increased spreading disc on the back. So this will change it from 12 meters to 18 meters. It only has 1 upgrade in size for the tank. So this one's the one it comes with normally, which is 15,600. And this one is just 1 size up, and the only other size, which is 18,950 liters. Then again, they both run at 12 miles per hour. This guy's going to cost you 67,000 with all the bells and whistles. This one's going to cost you 76,000. So that's what we have for solid fertilizers. So the next thing we're going to work on is going to be talking about the liquid fertilizers. Well, actually, before we continue that, let's go into the store real quick. If we go in here into the store, we're going to go into fertilizer technology, which is right here. So the liquid fertilizers are under crop protection versus the solid fertilizers are under fertilizer technology. So if we go in here, you got those 3 options. So going to the K105, You can add an extension. So there's the first level. Again, it's not too much more to add the big extension on the back. So you can go down from that. And also, this one you have the option to add a cover on for a little more as well. I didn't include that in the price because I don't think that's necessary. However, this guy does have the cover just on if you go to the biggest standard, or the biggest size of the holding or capacity. The other thing too to think about with fertilizer spreader is putting narrow tires on. That way they don't damage your crops. Now, if you don't play with crop damage on or crop destruction on, then it doesn't matter. So you can just do whatever tires look best. And then going back to the back here, this is where you're adding those 6-meter spreading unit on the back. So again, that's a significant portion more in the price. So it may be kind of just you weighing whether or not you want to spend the extra money on that or not. And again, that's going to be very similar in the store here for this with options. So one extension, 6-meter spreading unit, done. And of course, you can always do. This one actually doesn't have the option for narrow tires, which is interesting with it being a fertilizer, but you can do standard or wide. So, and what I was talking about with crop destruction, if we go in here, if you have crop destruction, I have it off right now, but if you have it on, when you drive over it without any crop, without narrow tires after it gets to a certain growth stage, then it will destroy the crop. So just be aware of that. So anyhow, going on to now liquid fertilizer spreaders. There are several options. There's 4 in store. And then there's an added tank option that's going to be shown right here. So we'll talk about that first. So this here is an added tank. It's designed to go with this fertilizer on the back here, but I believe it works with all of them. So if you just wanted an extra fertilizer tank capacity, you could add it to any one of these guys here. So this guy adds 1,500 liters to the capacity of your fertilizer and only costs you 8,000, so it's not too expensive. What I have on the back of this tractor here is going to be, and this guy here is the Kuhn PF 1500. So on the back here, this is the Kuhn Deltas 1302 MTA3. It's a 1,300 liter capacity. It works at a 21 meter width at 7 miles per hour, and it has, or it costs 30,000 to buy. So if you get it with the tank, it'd be 38,000. The one disadvantage to liquid fertilizer spreading compared to the solid fertilizer spread is the speed. These guys are running at 12 miles per hour as compared to the 7 for these guys here. So the next level up in the store is going to be this guy right over here. And this is the Hardy Mega 2200. So it has a 2200 liter capacity, has a slightly increased working width at 24 meters as opposed to 21. Again at 7 miles per hour, and this one's only slightly more expensive at 35,000. So might be worth the extra money on that. Moving over here, actually we'll go over here back to the Kuhn over here. This is the Kuhn Metris 4102. So a little bit different than the first two we looked at. Those guys attach directly to a 3-point link on the back of a tractor, whereas this one is a trailer hitch with a power takeoff attachment to it. So this guy, this is the Kuhn Metris 4102, has a 4,380 liter capacity. It works at a width of 36 meters, which is a significant increase from the guy in the back of the tractor over there. That's the Hardy Mega 2200. So this one's going to add 12 meters you're working with, which is significant. Again, this one runs at 7 miles per hour. However, the price does jump up. This one's now $84,000 to buy. The final one of the tractor attached fertilizers is going to be the Hardy. This is the Hardy Navigator 6000. Has a 6,000 liter capacity. Works at 36 meters, so the same as the Metris 4102, and also runs at 7 miles per hour. This one is a fair amount more than the Kuhn Metris. It's $21,000 more at $115,000. So the only real advantage of using this over the Kuhn over there is this guy has a slightly higher tank capacity. So kind of just you weighing in what your options are. So in store, looking at these guys here, we go in here, again, they're going to be under crop protection, as I mentioned. So go into crop protection here. There's the extra tank. That's the Kuhn PF 1500. And then you have these 4 guys in the back. Again, 2 trailer attached, 2 attached with a 3-point link on the back of a tractor. So be aware of that as well. Oh, and also before I forget, all of these guys will also hold herbicide. So every one of the fertilizer units will hold herbicide as well as fertilizer. So they're all dual purpose. So, and again, I'll talk more about herbicide in a different video. All right, and then finally on the liquid fertilizers, we have to talk about these guys here. There are only 2 in game. These are the self-propelled fertilizers. They are under a different category, obviously, since they're all in one. So not a bad thing to have if you can afford it. They are significantly more money than your other fertilizers. This guy specifically here is the Stara Imperador 3.0. It is unique in a way that it can do liquid fertilizer or solid fertilizer in addition to herbicide. So if you have it unfolded like this, where the fertilizer wings are out on each side, then it's going to run whatever liquids in the tank, whether it be herbicide or liquid fertilizer. If you have it folded in and you activate the machine from a tank it has in the back, which I'll show you here, this guy right here, with the spreading this here, it will run a solid fertilizer. So there's that to be aware of. It holds 2,400 liters of liquid, whether it's a herbicide or a fertilizer, a liquid fertilizer, and it holds 2,700 liters of solid fertilizer. Has a working width of 27 meters. It runs at 7 miles per hour, so about the same as the other, or exactly the same as the other liquid fertilizers, and it costs $195,000, so significantly more. Finally, kind of the end-all be-all of liquid fertilizers, you have the Hardy Rubicon 9000. So a 9,000 liter capacity of either herbicide or liquid fertilizer. So huge capacity for you as well. And it also runs at 48.5 meters compared to the next closest to it, which is going to be at 36 meters. Another thing to note about the Stara too is this runs at 27 meters as compared to the 36 of the trailer herbicide units or fertilizer units back there. So this one's not as wide, so just be aware of that. But the Rubicon also can run, and I think this is the reason why it is so much better than everything else, is it runs at 15 miles per hour, so over double that of all the other liquid fertilizers. However, it does come with a steep price tag. As you can imagine, this thing is going to put you back $489,000. So if you look at it in the store, you go into here. We're going to have to go back over here to tractors. Right here under crop protection, it has both of those guys listed in there. Note too, on the Stara, it shows that you can hold all three. This 5,100 liter capacity is the combined 2,400 liters of the liquid and the 2,700 of the solid fertilizer, so it doesn't have them divided out. So don't buy this thinking you can put 5,100 liters of a liquid in it. All right, so continuing on, we're going to jump over here to slurry tankers and slurry spreaders. So there are actually several in game. There's 7 total, so I only have a couple here that I brought out. I thought it'd be too much to have all 7 of them out here and to try to talk about them all separately. So I'll just talk about the 2 styles there are in game, as well as a couple of extra tanks you can have to refill these guys later. So the first one here, also let's just talk a little bit about what slurry is and how you get it. So slurry is like an organic form of fertilizer you can get in Farming Simulator. You need cows or pigs to get slurry. Those are the only 2 animals that produce it. There are mods available now if you wanted to download a mod. Again, I don't go over mods in these videos, but if you wanted to download a mod to buy slurry and use it as an organic fertilizer, that is an option to you. So just be aware of that. They can also spread slurry or digestate. If you're not familiar with digestate, that's a byproduct that you get from the biogas plant from delivering items there. So after their process, they produce digestate, and these digestate can go in here and be used as a fertilizer in the same way as slurry can. So there are 2 styles of slurry spreaders in game. The first one we're going to talk about is going to be this guy right here. This is a all-in-one, essentially, I like to call it. It has a spreader hooked up right on the back as part of the trailer and the tank. So this one specifically is the Garant VE8000. It has an 8,000 liter capacity. It works at a width of 9 meters at 10 miles per hour and costs only $23,000. So not very expensive to buy. Moving up, the second style here is a 2-part. So the tank is one of its own, and then separate from the tank that you hook up is the actual spreader unit itself. So there are, I believe, 4 of these and 3 of the other inside the store. We'll go look at that here in a second, but I think that's what I remember. So this one specifically is a Samson PG2, and it hooks up to the back here, the Samson TD12, which is this attachment. So you have to buy them separately. So this guy has a 20,000 liter capacity, so significantly more than the Garant V8000. It works at a 12 meter width, so only a little bit more than the Garant, and it works at 10 miles per hour as well. This unit costs $93,000, and then the attachment, so you can actually spread the slurry or the digestate, costs an additional $10,000. So inside the store for slurry spreaders, They range between an 8,000 capacity, and that's that guy right there, all the way up to a 34,500 liter capacity. They work at a range from 6.2 meters to 36 meters. That guy is not the lowest in width or the smallest width of any of them in the store. 6.2 is. That one runs at 9 meters. And they all run at 10 miles per hour, and the range and price varies greatly. So the Garant over there is the cheapest at $23,000 and the most expensive one. And this is for, it's a 2-part unit, but this is for both the tank and the attachment is at $268,000. So $268,000. So slurry tanks run out pretty quickly. They burn through slurry quite fast. So the first thing I have here is a field unit that you can, ideally, you would park this in a field, then you'd bring another tank such as this one here to refill this, and then you'd refill your slurry tankers from here as they're working. However, in Farming Simulator, you can just fill this up if you wanted to and bring it out there. And the reason I mention that is because this has a capacity of 55,000 liters versus this one, which is 30,000 liter capacity. So this is a huge capacity, and no, it cannot spread slurry itself, but it is a great option if you want to deliver more slurry, and it's not terribly expensive. This only puts you back 25,000, so not expensive option versus this guy here, which again only holds 30,000, and this one costs 72,000, so significantly more. And no, this guy cannot spread slurry either. And you can either hook it up to a tractor trailer or a semi truck, or you can buy a dolly and store, which I'll show you that in a second, and then hook it up directly that way. So if we go into the store here, you have under trucks, you have different tractor trailers to be able to pull that. These are just the ones in game. If we go into here, go back here to dollies, then there's a dolly. It's 9,000 extra, where it allows you to hook this up to the back of, look at it here. So this would hook up to the trailer, and this is something you could pull with any one of your tractors. So in-store slurry tankers are found, if we go right here under slurry tanks. So there's the Garant I have out, and those are the 2 tanks. These are the varied ones as you go back. And this guy actually is not the most expensive, nor is it the best. It's an all-in-one unit, but this one has the highest capacity in price. And again, they all run slurry or digestate, and they all run at 10 miles per hour. So that's all I have for slurry. The next thing we're going to go over here is manure spreader. So there's only 5, so I just went ahead and brought them all out. Maybe slightly overkill or unnecessary, but it'll be quick to go over them all real quick. So these spread manure on your field as an organic form of fertilizer. They can be loaded with front loaders or skid steers. There's also mods where you can buy pallets of manure and load them that way. And there's also manure trading systems that you can have as well as mods that you can download. So again, you need animals just like slurry to get manure. So you'd have to have animals to produce this if you don't have one of those mods. So this first guy we're going to look at is the FarmTech Superflex 800. It has a 10,500 liter capacity, works at a width of 9 meters at 12 miles per hour, and only costs 27,500. So moving up, the next one up is going to be the Samson SP1417. It has a 16,900 liter capacity, runs at 12 meters at 12 miles per hour, and costs 43,000. Moving up from there, we have the Kun SLC141. This guy runs with a 15,520 liter capacity at a width of 10 meters, so it does take a step down in width compared to the Samson we just went over. This guy runs at 12 miles per hour, and it costs 54,800. So essentially, it's a big advantage, or actually doesn't even have really an advantage compared to the Samson. This guy has a lower capacity compared to the Samson, and it runs less wide, so it's 2 meters less wide, so and it costs more. So I would not recommend buying this. It is not worth it unless you really like the look of it. Moving up, we're going back to Samson. So we have a Samson Flex 23, 22,900 liter capacity. Now here's where the working width really takes a hit and goes up. This one's at 24 meter working width at 12 miles per hour, just like the other ones, and this one costs 85,000. So not too big of a jump in price for a little bit more capacity and a significantly wider width. This is the Stratman PS3401. It has a 32,000 liter capacity. It runs at 24 meters at 12 miles per hour and costs 99,500. I think it is significantly better than the Samson, just because you get almost 10,000 more liter capacity. It has the same working width, same working speed, and it only costs you about 14,000 more. So not too bad. And finally, well, actually, we'll go look in the store at these guys real quick. So they're manure spreaders. Here's all 5 of them right here. So nothing too tricky. And again, to load these guys up, you would either need to get a telehandler, a wheel loader, a front loader, or a skid steer loader with the appropriate bucket attachment to load them up, unless you had one of those mods that I discussed earlier. So moving on, finally, You may take a look at this and think that's definitely not a fertilizer, and you'd be kind of right. So this is a tractor with just your basic cultivator on the back. So if you plant oilseed radish in this game and then you cultivate it into the ground, that counts as a form of fertilizer. So that is a viable option in this game to fertilize your fields. That's an option that's built in. So if you wanted a natural organic fertilizer on your crops, that would definitely be a way to go. So I just figured I'd mention that here at the end as well. And everyone knows where to find those in the store. So we'll just take a little break. I'm going to go ahead and get all these guys set up to kind of show you how they work out, or at least how some of them work out. There's quite a few here. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. I'll be right back with you. All right, welcome back. We're going to go over just kind of the results of some of these fertilizers working. So taking a look first here, we have the the coon, just a small one. So you see here, it definitely is not a 24 meter working width as it originally advertised. And I apologize about this little section. That was actually fertilized from my last video when we did planters that could also fertilize as well. So that's what happened there. So that's why that did not get fertilized again. Moving on, we have the bright owl without spreading disc attachment. And we have the one with the spreading disc attachment. You can see here, a fair amount wider. Continuing, we have the coon liquid fertilizer spreader. So just there's its work there. The unique thing about the manure spreader is it'll have this kind of texture on the field versus the one that you see over here, just kind of instead of a darker color like this, it'll have this color as well. Slurry is similar in that as well. It won't have this specific texture. I can't show you that because I don't have any slurry in any of my fertilizers right now. The one thing I do want to demonstrate though is the Stara, kind of what I'm talking about. So here, when it's folded up, if I turn it on, we're going to be using that solid fertilizer, as you can see coming out the back there. If I turn that off and then I unfold it, I'll give it a second here, then I'll show you that when it's unfolded, then it's running the liquid in the tank, and you can see down in the right hand corner that it's running fertilizer, or it has the solid fertilizer tank and the liquid fertilizer tank down there. So once it gets unfolded here, I'll show you what I mean. So, turn it on, still got that guy going there, but now if I switch, I have those guys running. So I'm not sure if you can trick it right here. If we can't get it to run both. So yeah, it'll run both of those guys. Oh, nope, it actually stopped doing, if you look in the right hand corner. Though it shows it's putting out solid fertilizer, it's actually not draining the tank at all. It's only draining the liquid fertilizer tank. So there you have it. You can't trick it to do both. So just figured I might demonstrate that. Well, again, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop them below. Please like my videos and subscribe if you can. And again, if you have any tips for me or anything you'd like to see done in any future videos, please let me know. Thanks for watching.